This is LTV.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisInsuranceAgency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank creates success. EnterpriseBanking.com.
Hello and welcome to Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the city, and thanks for joining us. We're live today. Yes, a live show, our first live show of the year. And, you know, we're here most of the time during the course of the year. A couple times there's something going on that we can't be here. But for the most part, I don't know, we maybe miss 2 or 3 a year, but for the most part, the other 50 times a year, we're live here Inside Leominster. We try to bring you good guests. And this little later on, we'll have City Council President David Cormier with us. But speaking of influence and influential people, let's head right out to the most notable face of Inside Leominster, or at least the voice. It's time for the Art Report.
Yes, it is. I know it's that time of year, too, that the mice are looking for homes, and I found a pretty good way of keeping them away from my stuff. I use little mothballs.
Yes.
And my tractor, when I park that in the garage, I put a couple under the seat. I put some on the engine top, just in various places so that they don't go eating the wires.
Right.
And that saves you a lot of money. And I got them around my work area, et cetera. And that really helps a lot.
Yeah. You find it gets rid of them completely?
You know, you say that. Since I started using them, I haven't, and I set a trap occasionally, I haven't seen any.
Right.
So I think it's working. Yeah. I really do. And one more thing, too, with the crazy weather we're having, with the wind blowing and the rain, and when we had what little snow we've had, if you have outside motion detectors, it's a good idea to keep the lens clean that picks up the sensor that picks up movement so that they'll come on when you want them to come on. And that's how I found out that mine were dirty. It didn't come on when I pulled in the driveway at night. So now I kind of go out about every 3 months and get a little Windex and clean it up, and it's amazing. They never fail now once you keep cleaning them. Mm. It's like anything else because it's used to detect stuff. So.
Right.
Just stuff like that. And congratulations on another term. And,
Thank you.
I see you were down with the bigwigs in Beantown the other day.
Well, you know, I was one of the first people out front there in 2010. He didn't win, but I first met Charlie Baker. He was a finance guy for the Weld administration. And that's where we first met, and that's back a while ago. And so when he said he was going to run and, would you support me? And I'm like, yeah. I didn't win the first time, but we became good friends as well as the lieutenant governor. And
I thought it was pretty neat when he spotted you in the gathering back at City Hall there. And he went over and said, "Leominster."
That's right.
He picked you out.
Well, they were very good to the city of Leominster.
Yes.
He and she would, if they saw something on the news or heard something was going on, they would, hop on and text me and, what do you guys need? You need some help, blah, blah, blah. And hope everybody's safe, whatever's going on. And that was for 8 years, and I can't complain. He placed me on the MassDOT board, and that is, I learned so much from being on that. Once you think you've, gotten everywhere, no way, not here in this business, constantly learning, constantly. And so, it's sad to see him go. And now it's time for, some new people to come in, and we'll see what happens.
Well, you made a good point when you said you learned something differently, etc. I'll never forget it as long as I live. When I went to digital in 1968, I didn't even know what it was, where it was. I went down there with someone else that knew about it, and I got hired and he didn't. And that's no disparage to him. They just didn't have anything in his field, I guess. But I got picked up, and I quickly learned that the doers got it done. They also got opportunities, and that's what happens if you absorb as much information as you can and do things the way you think are done right. It's okay to make mistakes.
Oh yeah,
because sooner or later you're going to get to the top because you're bound to make mistakes.
Absolutely,
it's human.
Absolutely, yep.
And if you put your head down and work hard, I told that to my grandson. He says, "Papa, what have I got to do?" I said, "All you got to do is work hard." And lo and behold, 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, he called me up and he says, "Papa, I made the honor roll."
Wow.
And he says, "Now here's the kicker." And he says, "Guess what? I hated math. We were doing algebra. I got an A+ in algebra." I go, "See?
Nice.
You put your head to it, and it works." I said, "No matter, look at your dad." I said, "You've got a lot because of your dad. He's a very successful man. He's smart." And he took the electrician's job. He moved it up. He's the boss now. He goes to big jobs in Boston. I says, "That's all you have to do.
Yep.
Put your head to the grindstone and let the rest will take care of itself."
That's right.
And also, having said that, enjoy your New Year and
Happy New Year.
Everybody around you as well.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Okay.
All right. Take care. 978-534-1626. And if you didn't catch our inauguration, I see it's on demand here. You can also catch it by coming to our website. But it was really an opportunity to thank, thank everybody. Really, thank you, all of you, to provide the opportunity. And a dream come true. And, it really is. And so, the department heads and city workers and all of those in town who are generous, and not just with money, but time. And I don't mean a lot of money sometimes. Sometimes it's a small amount, but some of the things that we're able to get done in town through the generosity of your contributions, sometimes it's your labor, and sometimes it's your expertise or just advice. And, so that's really what it's all about, right? To talk about the strength of the community and just who we are as the people. And many immigrants here in the community. My grandfather's an immigrant, right? Many came here for the American dream. We had a young lady who spoke, who was from Honduras, and came here speaking very little English, got into the English as a second language program, speaks very well English, if you didn't get to see that. And she is now at Mount Wachusett. She's going to be a dental hygienist. And just a sweet young lady, and intelligent and nice. So there you go. 978-534-1626. Caller, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dino.
Hey, it's Crystal. It's the Crystal Hour. What's going on, Crystal?
Not much.
Big renovations over there at Hannaford, huh?
Yeah, their break room looks kind of like a McDonald's.
Really?
Kind of.
The break room?
Yeah, it's but the way the tables are set up.
Yeah, nice. So they're taking care of their employees.
A couple of Kat and the other people lost their loved ones. I just wanted to know if you want to send them a card.
Oh, people that work there?
Yeah, I just want to let you know that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And Dave, the store manager, said Dave said hi, the state rep there.
Oh, yeah, he's a good man. Helped us out with that wrestling program there.
I'll tell Mark you said hi.
Yes, please do. My buddy Mark at Hannaford and Lancaster Street. Hector Bianco over at the store up in...
Take care, buddy.
All right, take care. Up there next to Walmart in Lunenburg. 40 years, I think, he's been working there. It's got to be longer. Because Hector worked there Hector worked at Victory when I bet you it's 45 years that Hector's been working there. Anyway, if you'd like to chat, ask a question, talk about anything that's on your mind, could get some snow tomorrow. It is Thursday. It is the 4th day, is it? Or the 5th day of, what is today? 5th day? We're all looking at maps over here. Yeah, it's the 5th day. 5th day of January. So if you're watching this later, sometimes people get confused. They think they're watching this and it's live. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to get snow tomorrow. And they're like, snow tomorrow? The weather said, supposed to be sunny. Anyway, this is just a live show, and we do replay it during the course of next week. We're going to take a short break, and then later on in the show, we'll have City Council President David Cormier as our guest. We'll be right back. All right. This also is the best part. Here we go. The awards. As the Grinch would say, an award? Come on, somebody watch that moment. First of all, there's somebody, and I hope he's still here, that's always been with us in every ceremony. I don't care what it is, whether it's the Firefighters Memorial, all the events that we had in the city of Leominster, and he's led us into these, into this hall for I don't know how many years with his bagpipes. Stuart Paul, is Stuart here? Did Stuart leave? Stuart's the guy that led us in here with his bagpipes. Is he still here, Wendy? Do you know? So he had to leave. But Stuart Paul, in recognition of your extraordinary service to our community, please accept our heartfelt thanks and appreciation for all you do for our city. The city of Leominster is extremely proud of the work you do every day and wishes to acknowledge and thank you today. Thank you for everything. Community Service Award, Stuart Paul. Next award goes to somebody who's worked on our disability commission. I just can't say enough about this lady. And these are the people that do everything and don't care if anybody ever knows, but don't even expect a thank you. They don't care. They just do it because they know it's good for the city and it's the right thing to do. In recognition of your extraordinary service to our community and serving on the committee. We'll pick right back up there because we want to make sure that you see who got that award. We gave out 3 community service awards and then a Jim Lanciani award. Anyway, City Council President David Cormier is with us, and he'll be here for a little while if you have any questions for him or I. 534-1626. And welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Beautiful
nice
studios.
Absolutely beautiful.
In your ward.
In my ward, beautiful Ward 3. Very nice studios.
Now, just a little bit about kind of where the shape is. This is mostly what we call the south side of Leominster is your ward.
Pretty much, yeah. The heart of it is Route 12, Central Street, and then half of Union and half of Lancaster. So, and this is right in the heart of it, right here.
Yeah,
so.
it's pretty big, pretty big area because it kind of spreads out, and it's done by population and not by square miles. So you've got a good chunk of land area here. Then that's part of the city of Leominster and schools and everything else that's in your area.
Becoming a little bit more densely populated too, as they're put in Brooks Pond and condos and things like that. So
and you got some retail mixed in and all that. And so anyway, Happy New Year! And
you too.
We started off the new year with the inauguration. We're just showing a couple pieces of it. And but I 2 things. Yesterday I had to travel, and I can't stress enough as I did. At the inauguration on thanking the city council and the school committee because there was an article today, and I'll leave the town out or the city. It's a pretty good sized city, but I'll leave it out. And the city council president that just got elected hasn't talked to the mayor since 2021.
Yeah.
This is 2023.
Yeah.
How could you not talk to each other in 2 years? Like, that's the last time they communicated.
It's crazy.
Like, what do? You talk to the wall, or you talk to somebody and say, hey, go see the city council president. Tell him when I see the city, or tell him, then talk back to that. It's like, what? This is foolish.
It's funny you talk about this because I've traveled when Councilor Wayne Nickel was alive. Him and I traveled to other communities to watch their city council meetings and their processes and things like that and procedures. And it is amazing some other communities out there, and I'm not going to mention any of them, but kind of dysfunctional, and so I think we have a lot of cohesiveness in Leominster. We're working well together. We have for quite a number of years now, and getting things done. So, and
it doesn't mean that it doesn't any stretch of the imagination is it somehow or another insinuated that the city council is just like a rubber stamp, and they just because we get questions all week long. You do referrals to different departments. And everything is gone through. I know you methodically go through everything. We get calls like, I thought it was $19,226 and 42 cents. And we're like, we had 41 cents. And like, no, 42. When we reconcile it. But by no stretch of the imagination, it's just professional. It's
Absolutely.
done. It's done with courtesy and profession. And if people disagree, it's fine. Go ahead and disagree if there's something you're really not happy with. But we usually grind that out and take care of those things, any issues that might be like, well, did you think about that? Well, no, actually, we didn't think about that. But now that you brought it up, let's get that resolved. So by the time it hits the council,
right, we're ready to go.
We're ready to vote. I mean, that's voting night.
Take care of the business, right?
You have subcommittees, and by the time you get to the vote, it's I remember some of the meetings going on in the past. The late hours of the night. I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this.
Yeah, we used to be there. Even when I first started, there were a couple of nights we were there till right around midnight. And so that hasn't happened for a while. Of course, some of the things we do have changed over the years. We've given up we've given back to the planning board the special permitting
license
granting
commission,
authority, and some of the license stuff. So that has kind of lightened up our burden a tad. But I think we move pretty efficiently. So I think it's good.
I remember for a long time, Attorney Injami in Fitchburg was the city council president. And those meetings were over in like half hour to 45 minutes.
Yeah, like chop.
Yeah, but he also made sure, as you do, as Mark would answer, that when he was there, is make sure everything gets done. So when you get to voting night, and the public knows these meetings are on television, you can watch them here, you can watch them anytime, you can email everybody, you can call them. That by the time you reach that point where it's time to vote, all of the work has been done. Right. Everything's been answered.
Absolutely.
All the work is done.
And that's, comes with having good chairmanships and making sure that people are doing, what they got to do, doing their due diligence and doing their homework and getting to a meeting and being prepared, being prepared to come to a consensus of the city council and get a vote so that we can move business along. So that's the goal.
So a lot of your water is already built on.
Right.
So if you've got Brooks Pond, some stuff happening down there. There's a project just before Speedway that guy in the transportation business is putting up a building. Seemed like a nice young couple, hard workers. And then I guess Walmart and all that areas, that's in your ward.
That's correct.
And so some activity happening down there. On that side, there's a proposed Starbucks that's proposed, and another couple of retail stores down behind Dr. Colaruso's office, Central Mass Oral, and some other things happening down there. But for the most part, you got a nice blend of retail and residential and apartments, and it's kind of a nice blend.
We definitely have a little bit of everything in Ward 3.
Pretty diverse.
So, and of course, probably the potential for a little bit more development up off of Willard Street.
That's right. Did he start those yet?
The land's clear, but there hasn't been
they've been
anything
there
moving
for so
yet.
long. I feel bad because we don't have much new housing because obviously we've purchased a lot of land.
Right.
And so that land's gone, so it never be built on, kept us open space. But Mr. Fasili, he started that project. Nice guy. He passed away. His wife and his daughter are continuing on with it. So if you come down Central Street, you take a right. If you're coming from town, take a right on Willard Street. As you get up, I don't know, near the power lines, up in that area.
Yeah, Crabtree area.
Crabtree Lane, that area. Then on the right is a project that they're proposed, and for single-family houses. But they just keep moving material in there.
Yeah, nothing's moving.
Well,
too
it's
fast.
Infrastructure, and there's no infrastructure in those lots, so they have to bring it all in.
Right. And plus, labor shortages. I don't know if that's a problem, and material. The costs and shortages that could be part of it.
They started actually right around the last recession, and then he had passed away, and I think they regrouped, and the daughter and the.
I think since 2018, before the pandemic.
It's been around.
Yeah, it's been going for a while.
And again, he passed away. Nice guy, nice people. Anything we've asked them to do, they've done.
Yep.
And but that'll be. I mean, you want some growth in the city. And one time we were 500 units per year, and we're not even close to that anymore.
No, and I don't think we have the ability for any of those.
There is no place.
There's not enough land left unless we started selling off some of the land we've bought for open space, which I can't.
Yeah, we wouldn't do.
See that happening.
No, I couldn't imagine.
There's no big parcels left for 100 sub-unit subdivisions.
Oh no, those days are over.
Those days are gone.
Yeah. If anything, there's a lot here and a lot there. There's not much left. 978-534-1626. If you'd like to ask Councillor David Cormier any questions, he's the president of the City Council, and he's here. He can take your calls. and we'll be here for a couple minutes more. You've lived here all your life. Tell people a little bit about you. Been a councilor since 2009.
Yep.
And employee of Horizon for a lot of years, right?
24 years
Wow.
now. Yeah.
That's a long time.
I've been on city council since January 2010. I took office. This is my 4th time as president. I've been chair of finance and vice president, and fortunately, I've never had to be acting mayor. Hopefully you'll stay nice and healthy this year, and that would be part of my duties as well as president. Besides making sure that all the business is getting done. But other than that, I enjoy what I do on the city council, and I missed so much during the pandemic, being out in the community and seeing people, and so the past year and a half, it's been nice to be somewhat back to normal, and I
thought it'd be over, but I said it the other night. I said I thought this was going to be over, and it isn't. But
I'm getting to go to the MMA this year for the first time in 3 years. So there's still things that I haven't done yet since the pandemic, like the MMA, that we're going to be
Mass Municipal Association have a big convention down in Boston, and have a city councilors forum and a mayor's breakfast with all the mayors. It's really the one time that most of the mayors show up to a meeting, and over the years it's been A, we haven't had many, and B, attendance hasn't been great because you have a lot of new mayors and they can't break away for some of these meetings as much as I tell them. I'm like, it's really important. You learn from other people. I still learn from the newer mayors. I learn from mayors who've been there 5 years, 10 years. Just it's the way it goes. You should always be learning, right?
It's absolutely, some of the stuff that you pick up from other communities, you can bring back here, different ideas, share ideas with them. I do enjoy the convention a lot.
And I have a trade show, and you see some of the people we do business with, and you see new products that might be like, hey, what about that? And so that's pretty good. Yeah. I was going to say, you visited a trail behind Shoalin, and I saw that day that you posted it. Yeah. So there's this really cool trail that goes down, and David gets out to a lot of the trails in town, and Tara had taken me through, and you go down behind Shoalin and get down near the water and follow it to the left. Yeah. Then it just brings you right around the.
Yeah. I went all the way down what gets paved when you get into Sterling, the trail. Went all the way into Sterling, came all the way back. And I was coming by the Wachusett Reservoir, and it's getting full again from that drought we had last summer. Still got a little ways to go, but it's getting there.
You know how there's little bridges here and there because there was this summer it was all dry.
Yeah.
So
I know.
There wasn't one place you could walk in places that typically there's a little runoff or a little water.
Yeah.
Not one place. Everything was dry, so we walked the whole thing without crossing anything.
Yeah.
Well, right through it.
I think there was a tree down across the access road down there as well. Probably from one of those recent windstorms. So I'm sure
it's really cool because you can go around through the Sterling side. You can even continue on because once you get up into those trails, you go even further.
Yeah.
Into the Sterling Putt and then back onto the Leominster side. It just goes forever.
Yeah.
But you could do a short run. You could, kind of just do a loop around Shoalin.
People bring their dogs up there. They let them off leash, and they run around, and
it's a lot of fun.
Everybody enjoys going up.
No, the one I haven't been to yet is the one up on Hill Street. Yeah. And that's one that they've done some work on next to the farm, and. That one, I hear the bear up there and deer, and it's got this beautiful view. I would assume, especially now with leaves gone, it's this gorgeous view from up top there.
I've never been up to that one, but I go up to the one. I've been up to the one before, up off of the end of Granite Street, and that's a nice little hike.
Oh
up there. Yeah,
you could get that
on the West Street.
You could get
West
that.
Street.
West Street goes up to the top. There's that South Monasnock Hill, and then the other one is the one you were talking about behind the distributing reservoir. Yeah, you could go up that way or come in from Elm Street, and you go up past the quarry. That one. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
I've also walked down all the way down Parmenter Road to that pond. I forget the name of the pond out there. Yeah. But it's absolutely beautiful. I like walking in the winter. I don't like humidity. I don't like bugs. I don't like the heat. I like to bundle up and go for a nice hike in in the woods in the winter.
Like the little kid from the Christmas Story that's all bundled up. It's like
No, I'm not a humidity.
No, I don't like the bugs either.
Person,
they just as soon as I get anywhere, I just get out of the car and suddenly they're just eating me.
Yeah.
The flesh off of me.
As unnormal as it is to not have snow cover and this kind of warmth and going into January, it's a beautiful time of year to use the trails.
So nice.
Yeah.
So what's in store for 2023? Anything big that, I know there's a lot that comes after you. In fact, you have a meeting Monday night, but I know there's a lot that comes to every agenda and you never know what it's going to be, but anything of substance that's big that...
Well, so, we're going to put the framework in place for the fee structure for our paramedic.
Right.
The endeavor that we've taken with that, which I think has been very successful. But, other than that, I don't see anything on the radar. But
nothing big, yeah.
But
we got a couple things coming.
I'm sure there'll be something.
They're not confrontational. They're big, but not confrontational.
Right. I mean, in 2020, I don't think Councilor Bedanza, when he took the presidency, could have envisioned a pandemic.
Right.
Well, last time I was president, we had a debacle in the schools, and so you just don't know. You just got to be prepared and ready to take things as they come. But I'm just hoping whatever comes our way, we just handle everything efficiently and work through it as best we can. So.
Yeah, we got the tax rate was set by the city council.
Yep.
And let me just explain. I got one of my tax bills. I'm like, what? How much? Like, what? Like 897? How that? Now, so I think last time it might have been a little low, but the value is based on last year's sales. So I started looking around my neighborhood. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They sold their house for like $400,000. They sold. Blame your neighbors, right?
Yeah.
They sold. Yeah. And then people will say, well, but I'm not selling my house.
Right.
So the tax bill that you get now, the value, you'll see where it says value, that is really based on last year's sales.
Right.
So just so everybody knows, the city council and the mayor cannot raise your tax. So we do it under Prop 2.5. We can go up 2.5%. After that, you got to go an override or debt exclusion, or values will change. So some values go up, some values go down. Somebody actually texted me today and said, hey, I don't want to say anything, but my tax bill went down.
Yeah.
And I said, it went down? Like, you serious? Like, I never hear from anybody that, but it's usually a third goes up, third goes down, third stays the same. But just so everybody knows, and this isn't to protect the city council or anybody, but the city council cannot determine, or the mayor can determine what the value is of your house.
Right. It's all market driven.
Right. I mean, it's when it's being assessed, you want it to be low. When you go to sell it, and you want it to be high.
And what a lot of people don't understand either, I don't think, Mayor, is if we bring the value of people's houses down, right? So it looks better because they think they're not going to pay as much.
That's what I'm saying. They want.
Then what happens is the tax rate's going to go up. So we passed a budget of $150 million last year. One way or another, we're going to get $150 million.
It's a pie, and it moves
from the taxpayers, right?
And for so long, condos were pretty much stabilized. Then the society changes, and all of a sudden, everybody's like, people my age are like, yeah, we're all done. The kids have moved out. We built these big houses. Now we're looking for something that we can set the thermostat and take off, In the summertime, if we're here, they got a pool, whatever. So the price of condos like Chapman Place and some of these places are, I'm like, wow. At one time, you could buy 2 houses for that amount of money.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then, the pressure real estate-wise is because not everybody has to work. And not everybody has to go in the office all the time. Some people, it's a mixture. So you get people that are like, yeah, I don't have to live in Waltham anymore. Right. I don't have to live in Arlington. So let's sell our house. And we lived in it for 5 years, so we won't pay capital gains. And we'll come out a little further to,
and that's what's happening here. I think they're calling it the urban flight, out of Boston.
They don't need to be there.
And that's why our prices are being affected out here, because there's still, quite a demand for real estate.
There's a good story. I won't tell you the property or the name. So a guy had come into the office, wanted to introduce himself, and he said, yeah, I just want to say hello. I bought a property in town, and I said, oh, that's nice. And I said, where's the property now? You're like me, but you've been around your whole life. It's not address, it's the property, the old this property or that. Is it next door to such and such a property, that kind of thing. And I said, you paid what for it? He says,
crazy.
I paid $1 million for it. That's kind of like a small commercial property. And I said, you paid what? And he said, yeah, I had a big capital gain sale from another city east of here. And he said, instead of paying the capital gain, I did the transfer. So that allows, so if you buy another property, and there's conditions, but if you buy another property, then you don't have to pay the taxes. Right. So he said, it was like getting a free house. So he made, I guess he did quite well on the other property, another commercial property. Yeah. So he said, well, I don't have a problem. He said, it's like getting a property for free.
Yeah, and that million was probably nothing compared to what he sold
compared to the sale. Well, if that was the capital gain, right, or part of it.
Right.
So then what happens is, now that may affect other commercial real estate.
Right.
Tech Park, industrial, subdivision down there, right? It's an industrial park. Every building down there this summer, in the last year, I mean, not some huge buildings either, sold for over $5 million.
It's crazy. Yep.
So you look at the purchase price and you think to yourself, how do they justify that purchase? And but there's nothing east of here that you can get for space. In fact, warehouse space right now is virtually none.
Right.
Now you see these warehouses going up in Lunenburg and all that.
And back in the day, and I'd have to look at all the property records, but back in the day, a lot of those properties were probably owned by somebody local.
Yes, very much
so. But now it's all these investor groups that come in and
equity guys,
exactly,
buying the property,
big money to invest all over the place.
Warehouse space used to be $2 a square foot, $2.75. Those days are over.
Right.
I don't, the manufacturers, but and so that affects, pricing, but it's really, again, the mayor or the city council cannot set value. We can raise taxes by 2.5% overall, and then the rest of it is fluctuation in values. A third is up, a third is down, and if anybody has any questions, we have a whole, it's got to be thicker than this, presentation that you got.
Yep.
And the assessors will, or any of us will send it to you, and you can look through it. That's the whole presentation they made to the council. And the assessor's office, either remotely or by mail or email, will go through your tax bill from the very beginning.
With a fine-tooth comb.
Everything.
Make sure that everything is in check.
There are 15,000 properties in this town.
Right.
At some point, you could have a mistake.
Right, and I've encountered that before. I know that somebody down in one of the condos, when I first got elected, for a few years actually, they had a box checked off that her basement was finished, and she never noticed it. And then she noticed it, and they could only go back a year.
Right,
and, she was
they
pretty
can't go back
upset about it. Right, they can't go back forever, but they can go back a year and abate. But people should, if there's any questions about their bill,
by all means, don't be shy.
Review it.
Sometimes,
absolutely.
A garage, it's data input, scanning documents, make a mistake. Even if it's a 1%, you're going to get 150, mistakes that could be made. And it could be that they're showing a garage, or they're showing a
basement
room
versus an
or
unfinished basement.
Something, and it's like, no, that's not right. Don't be shy. That's you want to make sure that's noted so they take it off. You have 30 days to file an abatement. If you don't think, and look around your neighborhood, and everybody else's house is selling for $4 and yours is $5, or everybody else's house was selling for $250 and suddenly yours is worth $350. Say something about it. File for an abatement. You have 30 days, but a lot of times people think these guys are spending money. So we're like, no. As far as the redistribution, we don't pick up one penny.
Right.
Not 1 cent more comes to the city, because it's just changing everything. Now, the 2.5% comes to the city, but not the other piece of it. So I just want to make sure I mention that.
Absolutely. It's important.
But it was strange because we actually got some people that said the tax bill went down. I'm like, I never hear that, right?
It does. Once in a while, it depends on your classification and all those things, but it's not common, but I've heard of it from a few people too. So.
And I think one of my properties, I think what happened is, I think it was just two and threes are just going up. They're just buying them for a lot of money, and here I am sitting there going, but I'm not selling it, and I don't take the rents to justify that. So, but property right next to me sold for big money, and some of the other ones in the neighborhood. So it's probably close. It might be a little bit high, but it looks like it's close. Who do I complain to? That's all I want to know. Do I complain to you? What do I do?
Sure, why not?
File for an abatement or something, but no. But you do want to check. For sure. And,
absolutely.
And we can get you the same, if you don't have that packet, what the assessors are going to be sending out as an answer to somebody that might have an issue. Let us know. We'll get it to you. But it might be a little shorter than the presentation that they made in front of the city council. But it's a good way to kind of explain and have them go through that. And if they still have questions, I thought they did a nice job.
Yeah, they
explaining.
always do. Very detailed.
Right. So, but still, sometimes it gets confused. Taxation is the most bizarre thing.
Absolutely.
So our fiscal year starts in
July. Yep.
So you get an estimated bill in July and November. The fiscal year, that's the fiscal year. The calendar year starts in January. Your tax bills come out in December to be paid in February 1st,
right.
Whatever it is. It's just wacky, so to speak. It doesn't line up with anything. And then the fiscal year will start in July, but the tax rate's not set yet.
Right.
So it's like 2 of the bills that you get are estimated. Now they might be high, then they adjust that later, but it's just strange. It's like, why doesn't the tax rate get set so that in July, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
you know what the budget is,
right.
you know what the value is, but you get your tax bill and the budget all went, I don't know. So I think sometimes the state set it up so nobody would understand.
Yeah, sometimes it's like they do it in a way so that it's confusing for a reason.
It's like,
it's like
don't even bother trying to figure this out.
Trying to explain it to people is almost impossible. There's a lot to it. And, I say this every year when they come down to give their presentation on the classification night, which is usually the first meeting in December. It's easy when home values are rising very rapidly because people are getting a tax bill on their house for maybe $300,000, but they know that all day long they could get $350,000, $375,000, right? But then when it starts going the other way, because everything's done in 2 years prior,
right.
When it starts going the other way and they're telling you your house is worth $500,000 and you know that all day long you can only get $425,000. That's when the hard conversation comes.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like, I'm not, and for a lot of elderly, they're like, yeah, but I'm not selling my house.
It does, yeah.
It's nice to know my house is worth, $350,000 or $450,000, but I'm really amazed at, like, houses that are, older. I mean, everything is worth $350,000 to $400,000, no matter what condition it's in.
Yeah.
Now, I expect some things to change, but I think for the most part, the demand's going to stay there because not a lot has been built. So there's still... I think a lot of the other towns and cities west of us have actually benefited from it because people have had to move west.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you hate to see that, but at the same time, I think as well as I do, after living here all your life, same as myself, after all the farms got developed, Union Street, Prospect Street, Pleasant Street, up on West, I mean, all over the city, these farms were getting developed. And we were able to save Shoalin Farm, and we saved a lot of these farms. But people were like, "Yeah, this is too much. Schools are overcrowded," and people were like, "Yeah." My first year I ran, they were like, "Okay, done. We got to bring this under control." And so we may not grow, to be 60,000 people or whatever. It may happen, but it's more likely that we'll grow by a healthy 2% each year, which is what. That's in sync with the budget. The budget grows by 2.5% every year. We've never done a debt exclusion. We've never done an override. The police station will be paid for within the budget. All the schools we've done, all paid for within the budget, paid off 10 years early. I'm just saying. So as far as population, so what happens is it's in more demand.
Right.
So what is existing is more demand.
Well, I think our future, Mayor, with, growth in residential probably the day may come where, you go down to Shrewsbury and you see the mall down there. I think there's a Whole Foods and stuff. And they have the housing component there. So if someday we ever take that route, our population might grow in that manner. And, when you start building those kind of units, you can really densely populate pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So, that might be our future as well if we start having to go that way with, bringing back some of these, commercial areas that
redevelopment,
we don't know what to do with. So,
City Council President David Cormier is with us, and if you have any questions, 978-534-1626. And I was saying the other night, as part of the kind of midterm, is if you think about it, pretty much Appleseed Plaza is full. I don't even have one vacancy. If you jump down to that Walmart area, everything is full there.
Yep.
There's nothing empty there. Reliant is just gangbusters. I think they wish they built a bigger facility there, but they didn't. So nothing empty there. You get down to Water Tower Plaza, and they have some, the big renovation of Shaw's. But I think last time I spoke with them, when everything is done, everything in that plaza will be full.
And that's good news.
And you get up to
good news.
Marshall Mall area, that's full. If you get up to the strip mall up there in North Leominster where Dollar Tree is, that's full. If you get up to DiGeronimo's property, Paul's property up there at Kmart on the Leominster side of it, it's all full.
Yeah.
Office space, everything. I think he's like 100% full or 95%. And so we just got the mall, and the mall moved to, Gardner Furniture to 70,000 square feet inside the mall. They've done a huge renovation in there to kind of block off the empty storefronts because they realize it's going to take time.
Right.
Launch is about to launch, no pun intended, but they're kind of a mini Apex theater. They're in the Toys R Us. And new retail formats. Now, the big thing is Sears is still, the Sears lease is still out there. It's still, it's still pending. So once that's, speaking with them last week, once that's resolved, then that's going to allow them to redevelop that whole side, that left-hand side, that where Macy's is. I think, eventually I would assume like Panera Bread needs to come outside. They like to have a drive-up window now. So there's some people in the mall that are going to want to come out. And then there's, they have done a couple of interesting things. They've done, the best way I can explain it is the Canal District in Worcester, kind of a marketplace. They've done that in some of their malls, and it's worked. It's kind of, let me explain it this way. It's like an Etsy indoors, like Etsy's online, right? This is kind of an Etsy marketplace indoors. And so they would pretty much, last time I talked to them, their plan was to do that at the mall. But this is not just fill up the space so we can say, I'm grateful for that. Too many malls got desperate and just started filling them up with anybody that wanted to come in. They got rid of all the kiosks in the mall. They didn't like that. They didn't like
notice that.
Following people down and buy this, and they didn't like that. They carpeted the mall. They did a nice job. There's murals inside. It's to provide stability, keep it safe, provide security, keep it clean, and keep the tenants that are in there happy, and then build from there. And I applaud them because they have done everything they said they were going to do. And I'm just glad because, as I said, the downfall of Greendale Mall was they just started renting to anybody. I went in there one day and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, where am I? So other than that, everyone's, even the fact that you see all these Amazon trucks around and everything. Everybody seems to be doing
amazing.
okay.
They're surviving, And
a lot of new small businesses have opened, and that's the lifeblood. The downtown's full. Most of the office space that I know of is full. We got a couple people looking to come downtown, but can't find space for them. Got at least one or two restaurants. Can't find space for them. Have two retailers, retail that I think people would like, and they can't find space downtown. They'll wait it out, is what they said, until something comes available. So all in all, state of the state is good. And again, I can't thank the council and yourself on your leadership.
Thank you very much.
School committee's been great. That's the thing. You want to get to that level where people can disagree. It's perfectly fine. And you could disagree, but people can respect and listen, right? So you just listen, like, okay, that's fine. You know what? You made me think of something. Let's try this, or maybe we can incorporate it. And that's what I think people want, is that, you could be a Democrat, a Republican. We don't have to run that way as a party here, but some cities do. In New York, it's a popular thing. And you could be any party you want. It doesn't really matter here. It's nonpartisan.
Because, our politics aren't partisan in Leominster.
It's get the job done and do what's best for the city. And that usually is the outcome of both school committee and the city council it's what's best. And that's, I'm so glad that's the environment we operate in, because the other one isn't healthy. It doesn't, it's a waste of time. It's just, there's no benefit to it.
No, I think we do a good job. I really do. And, we get the business done, and, little to no grandstanding. I mean, I've seen other communities, and like I said, you know, it's amazing the stuff that goes on, and it just looks so dysfunctional. And you know, you don't want the voters looking at you and saying, you know, these people they get an exorbitant tax bill, and they see all kinds of dysfunction. Yeah,
and it's like, this is what I'm paying for?
Exactly. This is the government I'm paying for.
You know, we do trash pickup. It's not free because it does cost the taxpayers, but it's in the budget. It's around $3 million that we spend every year. I mean, ambulance rates are low.
Nice and efficient.
I mean, everything. I mean, we try to do everything we possibly can to offer services to the community, and I think most people see that. And but again, it's a struggle, and if people have a hard time paying their tax bill, then there's the elderly and disabled. You know, there are a couple of funds. The other thing is that, and I'll have to do some slides here, but the other thing that's interesting is that there are a lot of veterans or their spouses that are eligible for benefits but don't know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speak up. This isn't like you know, you're begging for something. These are things that you deserve. And so come in and ask questions. Cecil will tell you all the time to pick up new people. You know, like, where you been for the last 10 years?
Yeah, the most they'll tell you is, you know, I'm sorry you don't qualify. But, you know, I know through talking to a couple of people that have called me over concerns over the years. I mentioned some of these programs, and you know, they went and saw Rick Votor. They went and saw the assessor. They filled out forms, and they were astounded that they qualified for different, you know, abatements and relief and stuff that I'm proud to say that I, you know, played a hand in supporting over the years.
Absolutely.
They're good programs for people that need them. So
we certainly don't want to kick anybody out or foreclose on properties. That's not good. All right, let's do some slides, guys. You ready? All right.
1 second.
Yeah, Keith's going to hit the button, and then, man, you watch us rock and roll after that.
The PC's running slow.
Oh, no. Time for a new PC.
Oh. There you go.
There you go. There's the newest numbers here. 7-day number 80, 2,547. Got tested 8327. It's about 10%. Tested positive. Now, those are only the ones that we know about. If you did a home test, which, by the way, we're just about out of the older ones, which expire at the end of the month. The newer ones are good till like June or July or something. 113 deaths, way too many. And one is too many. 1865 for all of Worcester County. And if you look down below, we're at about 51, about 51 per 7 days. But the hospitalization, if you look there, that's up significantly to 1149. That's up 241 since a week ago. So you see that, you know, the holidays and people being close and attending events. So there you go. Today in history, if you didn't know, there's the second time in 1934 that the Boston Fenway Park caught fire. FCC, this is the first time. 1940 was I can't believe this, the first FM transmission radio signal. Nice. And Bozo the Clown, 1959. 1959, also Buddy Holly releases his last record, It Doesn't Matter. I was killed in a plane 29 days later. It does matter. In 69, Creedence Clearwater Revival releases their second album. And in 1970, daytime soap opera All My Children premieres on ABC. It's National Day of Dialogue, National Bird Day, National Keto Day, National Screenwriters Day, and National Whipped Cream Day.
I didn't know that they had those days. Cool. Some
of the projects that we worked on the city. This has been a great project, the facade improvement program downtown. We've got 16 approved applications now. Not all of them are done. You know, we're running into weather issues, and so some of them are getting contractors, but some of them will be done in the spring and the summer. But 16 total. You know, finished off the end of the rail trail near the train depot. That will come as a next year project. The Common, we're going to be doing some work down there, and we'll certainly be asking for community input. Regional Planning Authority, contracted with them for our affordable housing regulations for commuter rail. That was something that the governor proposed is, hey, you should be looking at housing around your transportation centers, and we have a parking garage train up there in North Leominster. Hazardous mitigation plan. Getting that done doesn't seem very sexy or glamorous, but it allows you to bring in money, and there are some projects we do need money for. Farmers Market coming up Thursday, third Thursday of every month. Coming up next, Coffee Crawl. If winter gets you down, you just need something to do with family, kids, come to the Coffee Crawl, January 22nd to the 28th, and then Garden Mania. You know, you go down, and we have all these booths set up at City Hall, and they'll tell you how to transplant something. And I'd like to keep my, my Christmas cactus is blooming in July. How do I fix that? I want it to bloom, and so all of that, 6 to 8 o'clock at City Hall on the 24th. And here we go. I never know what these pictures are. Wendy puts them up. Nice. Here we go. Hey, there we are. Swearing in of Officer CAULIN SALVI. His grandmother was a Champagne lolly. They grew up, their families grew up across from our family, and as I said the other night, 40 years to the date, I became a police officer.
Wow.
Isn't that funny?
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
40 years to the day, and there we were. Got to swear him in, pictures with his family. Other police officers came to support him, so it was pretty cool.
He's a nice
Swearing
kid.
into the city council, there you are.
There we are.
Sheriff Lou swore me in. Him and I become good friends. As he's everywhere, this guy. Yeah. He is everywhere. He is. Coat dries, anything you need, you just text him, and there he is.
He's always at Polar Park, too.
He always is there. He loves it there.
Exactly.
There you are, you're a big fan down there.
I love Polar Park.
Do they all know you by name down there?
I think they're getting there.
And you threw the ball out on Leominster Day.
That's right. That's right.
David said, hey, no, I actually volunteered it out. He said, you know what? I mean, I'm a fan, but there's no bigger fan than Dave. I said, you go out and throw that ball. You're a bigger fan.
I think it was about as hot that day as you can get in New England as well. Oh, my God. It was like almost 100 that day.
And they moved people under the deck there. But I couldn't believe the amount of people that showed up from Leominster.
Yeah.
The only thing I would change next time is everybody thought we were all going to sit together.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of scattered around. And I'd like to get a hold of them early and say, look, is it possible that when we do like Leominster Day,
like rent a whole section?
Yes, a whole section, and we'll fill it up. You know.
Yeah.
There's NEDDY Latimer receiving the Jimmy Lanciani Award. Can't think of a better person to name the award after. I can't think of a better person to receive the award. She's done a great job, and thank God we got her. I'll tell you. And there's Chuck Doyle and WDC Construction. They are there for us all the time. And I don't care what it is. We need this. We need that. Can you fix this? Can you put a float together? And it just never ends. And they do a remarkable job. And most of the floats that we had in this Christmas, the holiday parade, was them. And there's Marlene THIBEAULT. And she got the Community Service Award. And none of these people, and that's the best part about giving these awards, none of them are looking for any kind of thank you. Nothing.
Great
Nothing.
lady. I served with her on the Disability Commission.
Disability Commission.
Great lady.
Starburst.
Yep.
Just a remarkable lady. And happy to be able to give that. And there's ALISSON Garcia Sarmiento. A great success story. Got a call from one of the Boston press today asking about this particular story. And from Honduras, came here and kind of on the older side of kind of a teen, came here as a teen, spoke very little English, went to the ESL program in the schools, excelled to the point where they said, hey, listen, 11th, 12th grade, come on out. You don't need to be there anymore. Got accepted to Mount Wachusett Community College, going to be a dental hygienist. And just a real good story, real good kid, real good young adult. And the American dream, right? It's the American dream. And it's the Leominster High School Chorus. They did an absolutely phenomenal job with the national anthem. And went to Wonderland. Come into City Hall. There's Louis Charpentier's Creations is still there.
Reminds me of being a kid, visiting his property, walking all around and seeing what the latest and newest creation was for whatever particular year you were there.
There's stuff there that's over 50 years old, and it's been restored. Amazing. Thank you to Glenn. He's done a fabulous job. And Mark Burnett's going to help him out with a couple other things. He's now interested in helping out. He's a sculpturist, but he's like, you know what? This is pretty interesting stuff. And anyway, come into City Hall. We got it all fixed up for you as a winter wonderland. So relining on Orchard Street, more and more of the city, as you know, you've been astute in terms of the city's water and sewer treatment plants, and we're like light years ahead of the communities, and our system's state-of-the-art. And we just got to get to the water lines now is really where the work is, and a lot of that is already done. So, and there you go. Today we had some guests from Luck. They really want to get involved in the community, And they're going to have a gala coming up in February, and so we're going to help promote that. We're going to get them on the show, and
nice.
There they are, handing us a packet of all the things. They have 300 employees at Luck.
Wow, wow.
That's and impressive. The skate park is open now. Were you ever a skateboard kid?
No.
You know, broken bones or anything?
No.
My son got me up. He's like, Dad, Kenny Bunk at the time. He's like, Dad, I brought him down. He's like, come on. Oh, man, I took a hit.
Yeah.
It felt like the next day, it felt like somebody threw me out of a helicopter. But a beautiful skate park down there on Johnson Street. So stop down. It's open, weather permitting. And there you go, guys. Huh? Did we do it? Did we do it? Huh? Well, thank you, Councilor. Great job. Thank you for your leadership and your help and good working relationship with the whole staff and the staff in the clerk's office and all the members of the City Council. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy New Year.
You're welcome. You as well. I'm looking forward to 2023.
Yeah, some exciting things.
Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, we are leaving, and Happy New Year to all of you. And remember, the world is run by those who show up. You got to show up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisInsuranceAgency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank, create success, enterprisebanking.com.
This is LTV.